How you doing, folks? Tim Attitude2, OutstandingPoker.com. I'm here for part 3 of my series of Thinking Like a Pro, and I'm continuing on the same session as the first two parts. As always, I would suggest watching the first two just to get a read on the opponents and the game flow and what's been happening. So I'm just going to dive right in here. You can see they're just the remnants of the last hand from the last video where I had pocket fours and I managed to stack this guy with pocket jacks. And then the squeeze here I think I discussed last video with pocket queens. So one thing to be aware about, start being aware about, like at this point sort of in the session, is we've played a fair number of hands at each table, I think around 50 to 60, 40 down here. So my opponents are starting to get a read on me, and I'm going to start to take that into account in my actions and how I perceive them to perceive me, right? Sort of going on to that next level where your opponents are starting to see how you're playing and take that into consideration when I'm deciding what I believe is my optimal move each time, because it's definitely a factor. There's going to be some opponents that will sit there and they'll still like not even remember whether you just sat down or not know your name, and are just playing their own two cards. But there are some that are beginning that will be half decent, and we'll start to take that into account and see that, hey, I've been 3-betting like 20% of the time here on the top right, so they're going to widen their range to play back at me, I think, a little bit, or maybe start bluffing more, that sort of thing. So I want to take that into consideration. So I think we're definitely at the point in our session where I would do that. So bottom left here, I pick up pocket jacks. We get a raise from a super nit guy playing 15-10 in mid position, and a call from like a maniac type guy, 58-37, sitting on an 80% stack, like looks like 80 big blinds. So I have pocket jacks, and the question is here: do I call or do I raise? Now, this is sort of a conflicting spot, because my dream would be to raise, get all in with this ace gree donk, and I wouldn't be happy to get it raised, get it all in against super bleak, just because I think this guy's just a super alternate, and if we get all in pre-flop against him with pocket jacks, I think he's going to show up with a better pocket pair than me most of the time, and I don't think it's going to be a profitable play. But there still is an argument for squeezing here, because I think a lot of the time, if we look at like his mid position open range, it's 17%. I mean, after 241 hands, which is a good size sample. So I mean, he's opening more than just your standard, pocket tens and ace king. He's opening up pretty much all pocket pairs, probably like ace jack or better. Probably a lot of suited aces, maybe some suited connectors, probably king queen. So I think a lot of the time this opponent super bleak will fold to my squeeze, and then I'll get this guy ace gr to call. So I don't mind sort of squeezing here, trying to get all in, or juicing the pot against this guy who's playing 58% of hands. And then hoping that Super Bleak folds. Now I have to plan for if Super Bleak does then re-raise me. If he calls, I think it's all right. He might just be set mining or sitting on ace queen or something. I don't mind if he calls. If he re-raises me, I think I'm in a tough spot, and it's pretty close. But I think I'd probably have to fold. And it's sort of counterintuitive. Why would you raise and then fold to a re-raise with a hand like pocket jacks? Because I've spoken about it before. If it were like a heads-up pot against a guy like this, it'd be pretty dumb to raise. Assume that ace gr just folded pre-flop, so it's just me against super bleak's open. It'd be pretty dumb to 3-bet and then fold to his re-raise. Like if that's how I'm going to play it, I should just call pre-flop and see a flop, because my hand's pretty strong and I don't want to have to fold pre-flop. But I think this is sort of a unique situation where I think there's super value if I can get super bleak to fold or call, and then get heads up against ace gr, who, given his stats, is